गांधी ने अगर लड़ने का हमें सबसे बड़ा हथियार कुछ दिया है तो वो अहिंसा दिया है, वो सत्याग्रह दिया है।
Five years back, the city of Delhi saw communal riots. This was after a widespread agitation against Citizenship Amendment Act. The government then used the fact that these riots had taken place to arrest the leaders of the people who protested against the CAA. Hi, I'm Shoaib Daniel for Scroll, and I'm here with Bano Josna Lahiri, who's a researcher, activist, and also the partner of Omar Khalid, one of the activists against the CAA who was arrested by the government almost 5 years back in September 2020. Bano Josna, it's been 5 years since the CAA agitation ended, 5 years since the riots. How do you feel? Are you tired, exhausted, jaded, looking forward to the future?
Yeah, I mean, it has been 4.5 years since this arrests took place. For some people,
September 2020.
yeah. Umar was arrested in September 2020. Other people, the string of arrests started in January, February itself. The trial of the case has not started yet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we are still in the phase of arguments on charge that's going on. That has just started. And that in itself will take some time. Then the trial will start. So obviously what we have seen so far is a pre-trial detention of all these people. And the legally speaking, internationally, pre-trial detention or detention without trial is now seen very seriously. It is seen as a gross violation of a person's human rights, person's right to liberty, right to life. And we have seen that gross violation of all these people in the last 4.5 years. And possibly, yes, it is very exhausting. It is supposed to be exhausting, I think, because this process itself is supposed to be the punishment.
That's the point. The cruelty is the point of the thing almost.
Yeah. So bail is the rule, jail is exception, is automatically inverted when UAPA is invoked, and this is a case under UAPA, and that has resulted into either denial or delay in the bail hearings, and the pre-trial detention continues. So yes, that is very frustrating.
What has led to this incredible delay? Like, what is happening for 5 years practically? They're just trying for bail.
When the bail orders, when people started seeking bail, so first Safura was given bail, but that was on a humanitarian ground because she was at that time pregnant, and the prosecution did not oppose her bail at the end moment and said that this should not be made, and this is an exceptional case, and that's why we are granting her bail. After that, three of those accused, Natasha, Devangana and Asif, three of them got bail, and it was the first bail that was granted on merits. And it was a very good judgment. It was a landmark judgment that upheld people's right to liberty, upheld these very basic fundamental laws that are guarded in our constitution. And also, it questioned the entire prosecution. It questioned how the court raised very serious questions about how the Delhi police has conflated and got confused between protests and terrorist activity. It raised serious question about how this can be called terrorist activity when people were just protesting.
But all of this was not applied to Umar.
Yeah, so this was in
It's
2021.
quite arbitrary, right? Like, in a way. Like you see
Absolutely.
these flashes of hope and then
Yeah, that's what happened because 2022 it was like the lead judge was the same, but in our case suddenly the court gave a very detrimental and a different order, and saying that basically upholding the UAPA and saying that prosecution, whatever the prosecution is saying has to be considered on face value till the trial starts. But the trial has not started yet. That was way back in 2022. After that, for us, in Umar's case, we approached the Supreme Court, but Supreme Court there were constant deferrals and constantly we were given dates after dates after dates. So after 14 deferrals, out of which some were our lawyer also took some deferrals, but mostly from the court side, because there was so much of delay. Finally, we withdrew the petition and went back to the lower court. In the meantime, other accused like Khalid Saifi, Gulfisha, Sharjeel, Athar, all these people, they were in High Court. Now we are back to High Court with all these people, because in between 2 years for this other co-accused, they have spent arguing their cases before 3 different benches. The bench changed, some judge got transferred, and the entire process had to start from scratch. So they argued, the prosecution argued, the order was reserved, then one judge got changed and the entire thing, the cycle started again. Yeah, so that happened to them thrice. So,
and what you said something very interesting about UAPA, that the judge has to almost take the prosecution's argument at face value when even considering bail.
yeah,
So it's almost like presumed guilty, and
That
then you have to prove yourself innocent. It reverses what a democracy should do, right?
Yeah, exactly. In UAPA, the guilt is assumed, not the innocence of a person. The guilt is assumed that you are guilty. Now it's the onus it's on you to prove that you are not guilty. But for that, to prove that, the trial has to happen. The trial has not happened.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah, and for these people,
Right.
for Khalid Saifi, Gulfisha, they didn't even get a hearing from the court in all these 2 years. So they have been just going on and on arguing their case, and then nothing. Then arguing afresh in front of a different judge, and arguing another time afresh. So they are, I think, the third or the fourth time they are arguing their case. So this is what has happened in the last.
What do you think this says about Indian democracy, that a law like UAPA exists and is being used against what you claim to be peaceful protest?
Yeah, absolutely. See, UAPA right from the beginning was a draconian law. The entire idea of UAPA was to crush dissent, because if you see, the conviction rate of UAPA is abysmally low, but people have spent years of their lives in these pre-trial detentions. What happened in 2019 was that UAPA was amended by the previous government, the Modi government, where earlier UAPA could be only evoked in terror cases, and the prosecution had to show that this person against whom we are evoking the UAPA is linked to some terror network, and that much onus was on the prosecution. Now what they did was that they made an amendment that UAPA can be evoked against individuals.
You don't have to be now connected to any
terror
quote-unquote
network.
terror organization, alleged terror organization.
Exactly. So now UAPA can be evoked against anybody. So we have seen in Kashmir, UAPA was evoked for people cheering in a cricket match. They said that they cheered for the wrong side, and UAPA was evoked. So that kind of evocation of UAPA we have seen. We have seen people, somebody waving a Palestinian flag
UAPA.
has been booked under UAPA.
Booked under UAPA.
Yes, that has happened in Madhya Pradesh and other places. So that has happened. That has happened that UAPA has now become randomly evoked against people, and it's clearly to crush dissenting voices and voices of the opposition.
Take me back to the CA agitation, Banu Jyotsna. Like, how was it? Like, it was a huge India-wide agitation. which clearly scared the government enough to apply UAPA, what we're discussing. Take us back to, that time. What was it to be a part of that?
See, the CAA was, in my opinion, the CAA was one of the most beautiful, peaceful, democratic agitation that we have seen. It was the largest movement, civil disobedience movement since independence. It started from this area.
The largest civil disobedience movement since independence.
Yeah, the amount, the way it spread all across the country, you could say that it was the largest civil disobedience movement. Started from here in this area, the Jamia students.
Started very close to where we are sitting right now.
Yeah, before
Shaheen
Shaheen
Bagh,
Bagh,
right? Like what?
Yeah.
10 minutes from here.
Yeah, it's
Ah.
pretty close. But before Shaheen Bagh, it was actually the Jamia students who raised their voices against UAPA, the CA and Aligarh Muslim University, JNU, DU, all students' universities then started joining in the protest. Jamia students were regularly being, there were lathi charges, there were brutalization, and finally on the 15th December, if you remember, 15 December 2019, there was a massive onslaught and massive assault on the Jamia students where the police entered the campus, beaten up students who were studying in the library. Similar lathi charge happened in AMU also on that day. In protest of that, the Shaheen Bagh
Sit-in happened,
Sit-in
started.
Yeah,
People
started.
forget how it started, yeah.
Yeah, that protest against, but for justice of Jamia, I stay very nearby to Jamia. I remember that day around 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m., we could hear stun grenades. And from my house, I could hear relentless use of stun grenades and that kind of things that are used.
Like there was so much violence, you could hear it from afar.
Yeah. Almost from 2 kilometers away, but I could hear. The stun grenades are used to repel riot mode. But they were being used in the university on unarmed students who had just taken out a procession. And the CCTV footages and all that showed were extremely brutal. And against that, the women of Shaheen Bagh, they sat in the protest and they said that, we are not going to move till justice is served for the Jamia students and also till CA is not rolled back. Because see, CA itself, it's a dangerous law because for the first time it brings the clause of
Religion into citizenship.
in determining citizenship. Citizenship in India had always been unconditional. We have never discriminated on any ways of religion, region, caste, gender to determine citizenship. This is the first time.
And Amit Shah has directly connected it in so many speeches to NRC,
exactly,
right? Like that
exactly.
connection has been made by,
Himself.
our current Home Minister himself, right?
So His Highness himself made the connections.
Right,
We did not. He
right.
made, he popularized the word chronology.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
chronology entered popular parlance, saying
Right.
that chronology समझिए. पहले CAA होगा फिर NRC होगा. ये वो उन्होंने खुद बोला है. हमने नहीं बोला था ना ये बात. ये लोगों ने नहीं बोला था. ये उन्होंने बोला कि आप chronology समझिए. बार-बार जाके वो टाइम्स नाउ को बताया, वो कुछ पब्लिक मीटिंग्स में जाके बताया कि आप chronology समझिए. So people understood the chronology. That first you'll bring CAA, then you'll do All India NRC, and then when a huge amount of people will get disenfranchised because of that, you'll evoke CAA to give some sort of citizenship to the non-Muslims, but the Muslims will be left out. This was the diabolical long-term plan that people could extrapolate from that statement of the Home Minister himself, right? And that made the Muslim citizens of this country very, 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 very worried. And the people, everyone who upheld the constitution and the unconditionality of citizenship were also very, very perturbed and very, very disturbed by seeing that it is the first legal step of bringing in graded citizenship. So after the protests erupted, they sort of, the ruling class, the government sort of got into the back foot and said that, we are not, they delinked SCA and NRC. Saying, no, CA को लेके इतना हंगामा का क्या है? It's just to give citizenship to refugees who want out. Refugees have been seeking asylum in India, and there are concrete laws to grant them citizenship. There was no need for bringing in a special law for cherry picking 3 neighboring countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. From there, you will give citizenship to certain communities: the Hindus, the Hindus, Parsis.
Even the
Buddhists,
countries picked are so interesting. Only
Yeah.
Muslim majority countries are picked.
Majority countries.
Sri Lanka is not picked, although
China
it has.
is not picked.
China, Sri Lanka has such a terrible ethnic conflict, right?
Exactly.
In which
Myanmar has
Tamils
not
have been
picked.
so brutalized, but yet, they have not been given this option of taking asylum or citizenship in India.
Exactly. China, we share border with China, and the Uyghur Muslims are being brutalized in China. In Myanmar, we know the situation. We know the situation in Sri Lanka. But these countries, were, if you are talking about religious minorities, then these countries should have been taken into consideration. Also, within the Muslim community, like we know in Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, the Shias, the Qadias, the Ahmadiyas, the Sufis, they are also persecuted. So they are also persecuted minorities. So why leave out Muslims? There are Muslims who are also persecuted minorities, who are minorities within,
I think there was an attempt to push a certain politics using the idea of persecution.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
using the-
It was never to give, CA was never meant to give, refuge to persecuted minorities. It's actually the diabolical plan which the Home Minister himself made the blueprint so clear, and he taught us the chronology. And that's why people picked it up, and people.
You've called the CA movement the largest civil disobedience movement in India since independence. What has happened after that? But do you think that it has succeeded in any way, or has the government actually managed to crush it?
I mean, see, when the movement was taking place, when the protests were taking place, at that point, we saw the government going completely back foot. Like I said, first they de-linked that no CA and NRC are not linked and all that. And then they could not implement the CA for years after that. The CA protests were stopped because of the global pandemic that broke out. It was overall, all across India, the CA protests were stopped by the global pandemic and the lockdown. That forced the movement to stop. The government could not. In the Northeast Delhi, the riots stopped the movement. The riots ended the protests there. So the people were, because it was not, it was a movement that was started by the Muslim citizens, especially the women. It was a women-led protest, but gradually, within a month, it was joined by a lot of other communities. A lot of other communities completely, people from all across communities started participating in the protest, making it actually a mass protest. And that is where the strength of that movement lied. It was,
Now that CA is there, what do you think? Like, what is the very hard-headed evaluation of the CA movement? By delaying the CA, is that a victory, or just by what is it?
I believe that, the CA in itself is flawed. But the CA becomes diabolical when it is connected to NRC and the All India NRC and used as a tool to disenfranchise a community, religious minority community, the Muslims here. So far, that diabolical plan they have rolled it back. Yeah, that the people of India showed their strength, that we will resist if such a diabolical plan comes. One more way I will say that the movement was hugely successful is that if you remember, last general election was the first election in our distant memory, or maybe the first election, where the constitution became the rallying point, right? The constitution.
That's a great point, actually. I think the first time in my life I've seen the constitution be a popular symbol.
Popular symbol and a rallying point for elections.
Yeah.
Like the election was voted on constitution.
Yeah.
Now the centrality of the constitution was brought by the CA movement.
That's a great point.
In every protest site, there would be the printout of the preamble.
People will read out the preamble at protest sites.
Every day there will be reading out of the preamble, discussion about the preamble. Like Shaheen Bagh, since Shaheen Bagh was my protest, I would go every day. All times of the day I have been to Shaheen Bagh. So there were people who were invited from Nivedita Menon to other, experts and intellectuals were called in, lawyers, uh, senior lawyers would come and explain people what is the constitution, what are the constitutional rights you have, and people who, like common people, women who hardly used to come out of their homes and all, they would participate in that. There will be huge discussions, like large study circles that would take place, and there will be dialogues on the constitution. The constitution became the very center point of this movement, and then it snowballed to, during the farmers movement also, the constitution was talked about and upheld and all that, and finally in 2024, last time we saw that constitution becoming a rallying point of the popular discourse. I would give credit to the CA movement.
The movement you're saying has bought the constitution and made it into a popular symbol, a living document.
Yeah, exactly.
People considered, as a popular symbol of resistance, as
resistance, right, and to safeguard it, to understand the importance of the constitution, and how the CAA in itself is subverting the spirit of the constitution. And this can be a beginning of the end of the constitution if the CAA is, comes in and used in the way it is envisioned.
So the CAA was this huge movement. What I want to ask you, Bano Jyotsna, is why do you think the government zeroed in on Umar? What made him so much of a threat?
Government did not zero in on Umar alone. There are 18 people who were
18 people, yeah.
Who were arrested.
Why were they zeroed in?
All of them were involved in the CA movement in some way or the other. Some of them were locally organizing protest sites. Some of them, like Umar was being called from all over the country to speak on, on the movement. So he almost went to every state, almost, except a few northeastern states and I think Gujarat. He had been to all states where some were...
Umar enjoys speaking?
Yeah.
Why are you sounding so tired when saying this?
He speaks a lot.
He speaks a lot, right?
Yeah.
So his skills were put to good use in the CA movement.
Yeah. So he went there, spoke, and he spoke huge gatherings and also very small gatherings of few people, but he addressed all sorts of gatherings in various places. Spoke about what the CAA is, what the constitutional right, and all these things. So that way he was one of the very known faces of the movement, and so were all other people. Be it Khalid Saifi or Gulfisha, they were organizing locally in their area, the managing the local sites, Sharjeel or everyone else. So some of them were like Salim Khan, like the lesser known people of this case. They had never, like Umar, Sharjeel, even Khalid Saifi, they were activists. They had been into some kind of activism in their lives earlier also. But there were people who were first-time activists, who had, not been into activism before that, but they got into...
The movement brought these people out, right?
Yeah.
They gave them a platform.
Yeah, so it was to intimidate all those people, be it a seasoned activist or a first-timer. That if you come out in such huge numbers and organize such a magnificent protest, which, which spread across the country, then you have to pay price for that.
What you're saying is it was a warning, like it was a punishment or a warning to organize a protest against the government.
Yeah, like for everyone else also.
So for Umar, Umar is already in the crosshairs of the government, so to speak, in 2016. Was there any fear that you guys had that he was now again taking on the government 2 or 3 years later on something so core?
I mean, see, all of us took part in the anti-CA protests. All of us who thought that, something in our country is fundamentally going to change and we cannot let this happen. Like I said, there were first timers who came out who never had stepped out of their homes before, or there were seasoned activists who had been, fighting for democratic rights or human rights and all this. All of us felt together that this has to be resisted. This is something which is leading to Nazification. It is something which is leading to the sabotaging of the spirit of democracy, and this has to be resisted. So if you remember, I mean, it's just been
You
5
think there
years.
was no choice? You had to resist.
Yeah,
No
we
matter
all
what
had
the
to
risk,
resist.
no matter what the.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, then what is the point of talking about, being anti-fascist and talking about democracy and upholding democracy? Democracy रहेगा नहीं ना, ऐसी चीजें, ऐसे laws अगर implement हो जाए और मतलब इसका जो use करने का सोच रहे हैं सरकार, उस तरीके से use कर ले तो democracy नहीं रहेगी ना. तो वो तो हमारे मतलब बहुत ही fundamental duty था as citizens of the country, and all of us came out. It's now these 18 people had been made an example of to teach a lesson to all of us, to the rest of us also. But all of us came out. Even in the this FIR 59 charge sheet also, I think it names the entire Delhi civil society in various ways. But ultimately they picked these 18 people, mostly Muslims. 2 of them were Hindus, but otherwise mostly Muslims, but particularly targeted to as a punishment to that entire movement that happened.
You're saying there was a very specific targeting of Muslims in that movement. Kind of.
Absolutely. I mean, you cannot. I mean, you see the composition of the people who are still incarcerated and who have been. All of them are Muslims.
Do you think this was also a factor that played in 2016? So 2016, to remind our viewers, there was a sedition case in JNU, which is when Omar had first, unfortunately, come into the limelight in a not a great way. So do you think his name also played a part in that entire craziness that happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Because see, 3 people were arrested at that point of Kanhaiya, Anirban and Umar. But there was a specific campaign, media campaign that went against Umar. I mean, that was the first time when we if you remember, the blast of fake news and concocted news.
It must have been like, what was it like to be suddenly in the middle of this like media absolute craziness that was happening?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy to see our witch hunting live on live TV, mainstream TV, and that was very unsettling. By now, though, we have become used to it.
Now it seems normal also.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that time it was like,
It was for the
early
first
days
time,
of it,
yeah. For the first time to see that, TV anchors can sit and peddle lies with a straight face, saying that Umar had gone to Pakistan. Umar ने कितना 20 बार पाकिस्तान गया है, and to organize a cultural program in JNU, apparently he made calls to UAE and Bangladesh and all that. And Umar is a Jaish-e-Mohammed sympathizer. All these things, this guy, Rahul Shivshankar, he used to sit in NewsX at that point of time, and he said with a straight face, next day, the police gave statement saying that we have not said that, any JNU student has been linked to Jaish-e-Mohammed, that the police retracted the news. But they never retracted. They never apologized.
So Rahul Shivshankar has never apologized.
No,
never
nothing.
retracted.
पागल हो गया. राहुल शिवशंकर ऐसे झूठ बोलता है, मतलब बैठ के झूठ बोला, और फिर वो जब कुछ वीडियोस जब हम एनडीए से क्या होता है उसके साथ वो क्या, तो काफी ये दिल्ली राइट्स केस में भी हुआ, काफी सारे वीडियोस दे रिमूव्ड.
I'm going back to that. You think so Kanhaiya Umar, the difference. So Kanhaiya is today a mainstream politician. Umar is in jail. You think it's literally the name?
It's not just the name, like there are other factors in it also. But Kanhaiya and Umar are in 2 different organizations, 2 different political.
But do you think name had a large part to play in it?
I mean, I would say the name had a large part to play for Umar.
Omar, like the way he was persecuted, the way the demonization happened. I mean, I'm obviously not blaming Kanhaiya for having that name. Obviously, like, I mean, who couldn't choose their name. But yeah, it is. You're saying it was just like a luck of the draw almost. Like this demonization that happened for Khalid at that time was to do with his name.
Yeah, absolutely. Because this had gone to Pakistan, Jaish-e-Mohammed, and all those fake news. You cannot peddle that for Anirban or Kanhaiya, no?
And Sheila
People-
Rashid went the other way. Now she is praising the Modi government.
It's her choice.
It's her choice. No, nothing to say on that.
Nah, what will I say? I mean, it's her
Do you
choice.
think it's like what? Somebody has to do that. It's a smart choice. What do you think? Because Omar did not do that.
I mean, see, it's her choice. I would not comment on that. Why she made made that choice out of some kind of compulsion or choice, or I don't know. I mean people make weird choices in life.
I think it's a weird choice. though.
It's not a nice choice, but
It's not a nice choice.
in my opinion, no.
But do you even if you don't agree with the choice, do you understand the choice where she's coming from?
I don't know. See the complications of her life and where she is situated. The persecutions that she herself has faced and all that. I mean, I don't judge people for all those, but obviously I don't like the choices she has made, but it's her choice.
This must be kind of like if you look back to pre-2016, it must be like surreal, right? Like you guys must have had. I know what a JNU student's life is like. It's quite lazy and boring, right? Ganga dhaba mein jaake chai vai pila ke there.
नहीं, boring तो नहीं था. It was exciting in its own way, but now it is like, oh my god, now it's a different. It's crazy. Like, yeah.
JNU for a while had almost become like a gully, right? Like
Yeah,
JNU
yeah.
was this like suddenly this center of. I remember I was looking for a house with someone and the landlord refused because that person was from JNU.
Hmm.
Like
That happened because a lot of demonization took place of JNU. Because at that point of time, if you remember, it started from February, ended in March. In that 1 year, 1 month of span of 1.5 months at max, a national budget was presented and passed. Nobody took care of it. Nobody took notice. There was those Jat reservation ko leke, there were some movements that were taking place which turned violent, and there were those Muthal rapes that took place. Nobody took notice. A lot of other things happened, like people, as if people were sitting like zombies in front of their television in having popcorn and looking at news that only talked about JNU. Like JNU mein ye hota hai, JNU mein. Basically, the idea was to attack subsidized education. It was also to attack universities as a space of dissent, because university is a place where the dissent of government policies always come. Like they have always historically been, not only in India but in many other places. Universities have always been, the forerunners against government policies, the critiques that any democratic government should
student
actually
protest is
welcome.
always like super powerful wherever
Yeah,
it
yeah,
happens.
absolutely. Like student protests in India also have earlier thrown so many mainstream political leaders, given rise to so many mainstream political leaders. But so they knew that
Including
this is
from BJP, people like Arun Jaitley.
yeah, exactly. So that's what they foresaw. This government foresaw that if you have to kill dissent, university spaces are the first thing that you have to first demonize and then shut down. Because that was the time when the hashtag shutdown JNU used to run. It's actually shut down public university, shut down public education, shut down dissent, shut down questioning, shut down research. After that we have seen how the money and budget from research has been drastically reduced. Research on liberal arts, humanities as well as sciences.
And JNU itself is
Yeah.
being killed as a space of public thought, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, during our time, it was like JNU, we could talk fearlessly about anything. Talking was never discouraged. Like you discuss, you talk. Not necessarily I have to agree with you, but you could still talk. But that spirit has to be killed. That spirit that, you can. Now you see, now it has snowballed to everywhere. Now everyone thinks twice before writing in the social media. Now all the comedians are under extreme pressure that what will I say and what joke will I crack and which will go against me and land me up in jail. Now every filmmaker, every
Suddenly
film
there'll be an
director,
internet mob that'll, suddenly just go
and
crazy.
it's not just the internet mob. It started with the internet mob, but now they are prosecuted as well. They're at the legal system has also joined hand with that internet mob. So earlier it would be extreme trolling that we had to in the early years during JNU and all that. Extreme trolling by paid and unpaid internet trolls. But now the legal system and the executive have joined hands, and
It's a perfect lock and
Yeah.
the trolls, law,
law
administration.
and there are cases. People have gone to jail, right? Munawar Farooq had gone to jail. So they have now. So there is a huge censorship also that we have put on ourselves.
Of course, you're so scared, right?
Yeah.
You do a preemptive.
Preemptive
Before I
censorship.
say anything, I'll think 5 times.
Exactly.
So, you're talking about jail. So, Omar has now been in jail for 4.5 years, almost. What is jail life like? Like, is it like boring, interesting? What do you do in Tihar jail for like 4.5 years? What is that? 1500 days or something?
Interesting तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं है. Interesting तो हो ही नहीं सकता है. It is bound to kill your mobility.
That's what
It
it's
is-
designed to do, like
It is
crush you.
designed to do, yeah. But yeah, he has been reading a lot. He has been read more than 350 books now.
350 book.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
And all sorts of books he reads. Fiction, non-fiction.
That's called silver lining or UPA nobody talks about. You catch up on your reading habit.
Yeah, that's actually he has. Well, just before getting arrested during the lockdown, also he started reading. Both of us got back to a little bit of reading, and he said that because before that was the anti-CAA times when he was traveling like crazy. Every time he was traveling to some So he said that I'm so tired after so much of traveling and मतलब पढ़ना तो छूट ही गया. मतलब see what you said ना 2016 के बाद जो हुआ 2016 खत्म नहीं हुआ हमारे लिए कभी. हमारी जिंदगी में वो 2016 ही चलता रहा.
चल रहा है.
हाँ,
That
अभी भी
thing
वही
that
चल
has
रहा है.
started for 9 years
हाँ.
practically, it's gone.
So उससे जो होता है ना the normal जिंदगी खो जाता है. मतलब the normal life completely was
Think
lost.
कि क्या होता है normal जिंदगी?
I don't know now.
Like-
मतलब I see in between 2016 and 2020 2018 happened when there was an assassination attempt on
Yeah.
Umar, right? So that
Was that like a big thing? Did it change how you thought? Because this is now a real thing.
yeah, exactly, exactly. That's
It
what
wasn't like in Twitter
earlier
trolling, right?
earlier it was just death threats. Now that threat happened in front of us, right?
What happened in 2018? He was outside a court,
No, he was outside the
Uh,
Constitution Club.
Constitution Club. Somebody tried to shoot him.
Yeah, somebody tried to shoot him. He had just finished his PhD, and because of his PhD, he had taken a long hiatus from activism for a few months when he was writing his PhD. He had just finished his PhD, and he got back to one of the programs where he was invited as a speaker. It was 13th August 2018, and it was just in front of the Constitution Club. And just before the program, he said कि चल चाय पी के आते हैं. चाय पी के मैं सुबह से कुछ खाया नहीं हूँ. आज चाय पी के आते हैं. चाय पी के I'll come and join the program. चाय पीने गए तो एक बंदा पीछे से आया और एक झपट पड़ा. मुझे पहले लगा कि वो सेल्फी वेल्फी लेने आया है क्या है. Then I realized that he had a gun, and he then pulled the trigger. The gun jammed for some reason.
Wow. Okay, the gun jammed.
Yes. I remember the ACP, the Assistant Commissioner of Police, said that, Umar, you're a really lucky man. Because we saw the gun, because that man, when he realized that his machine is not working, he panicked and he started running. And then the way he threw the gun, and that led to one of the bullets getting fired.
Right.
And then he ran away.
Right.
So we got the gun, matlab the police collected the gun, and then the ACP showed 5 live bullets that were still inside the in the gun, and he said that you're a very lucky man, and this is not even a desi katta, this is a proper revolver. I don't know how it got jammed. He did pull the trigger, but somehow it didn't work. The gun refused to do such nonsense. So
That's
the gun had
absolutely-
not seen a lot of Arnab Goswami and Z News and all that. Had the gun been put me in front of the TV for longer times, I think it would have acted like it should have. But the gun.
And how did this is like a crazy thing. Was Umar traumatized? I mean, must have been traumatized.
Yeah,
by
it
this,
was
right?
traumatizing for all of us, and definitely for him. Like,
Yeah, to be so close.
yeah, definitely. It
Is
was.
there something like you go to meet him every week? Is this something that you guys talk about in the Mulakat in Tihar? Or there's so much to talk about that this has receded.
Yeah, see, so the post 2018, that became normal for us. Constantly watching over our shoulders. And if Umar is somewhere publicly, like I said, and in the CA movement, he was in so many places publicly. But some friend of ours, either me or somebody else, it's not always me, other friends were also there, who would always be with him. We never left him alone to any place.
It was almost like a bodyguard system.
Yeah,
that
bodyguard
you guys
system
instituted.
instituted, but amongst friends. We did not never hired
A professional
bodyguards or bouncers, but we always kept looking out. That कोई है क्या, मतलब फिर से वो बंदूक आ जाता है. But anyways, that became normal. That became a habit, and that is not normal. That is not supposed to be normal, right?
Tell us how your mulakats are like every week. Like Tihar, how is it to meet someone for 4.5 years who you can't shake his hand or something?
No, we can't shake hands or anything. We have to glass के opposite में होता है.
Glass के opposite.
हाँ, and we talk through phones.
Oh, अच्छा. Which is exactly like in the movies.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it is like in the
Right.
movies. So it's like the Hollywood movies you mean.
Hollywood movie, right.
Yeah. Yeah, so the guards in Tihar are actually good, matlab they're very professional and they're helpful also. I mean, I have good experiences there. More good experiences than bad. Kabhi hua hai, but more good experiences than bad. And
Has Umar made friends inside Tihar?
see, there are not too many people who stay in one jail for 4.5 years. Either they get bail or they get released or they get transferred to other jails. But because of his security concern, so
Because he's like a special case almost. He's in Tihar for so long, one jail is so long.
No, also because he had threats on his life earlier, and that also the court considered. So he's given a guard inside also who moves around with him all the time. So and he is in a same jail for all these years, but yeah, so it's difficult to make long-term friends that way. There are people, I get calls from people who come out of jail and say, आपका नंबर खालिद भाई ने दिया, हम भी तिहाड़ में थे और हम बहुत अच्छा टाइम गुजारे उनके साथ. And so a lot of people have called me, lots who have said that, they said that they have spent good times with him.
Right.
So
you said that so many people have been arrested under this conspiracy case, but there is almost an undeniability that Umar gets a lot of attention, right? For good reasons and bad reasons. Why do you think that is? Is his story is it easier for the average Indian to buy as compared to many other people?
see, I would say that, like I said, that Umar was one of the known faces amongst the 18 people who had been arrested. He, because of 2016, was already known. And he's already talked about, loved and hated both. So there were a lot of people who would love him and there were a lot of people who already hated him. So that's why he was possibly the most known person amongst those 18. Because some of these people in the 18 are absolutely anonymous. Like they had never been into, public protests or anything earlier. But Umar was, so that's why he is most talked about, because a lot of people already know him. Like a lot of people, even sitting in abroad and all, they call us or, connect because Umar is a name that they also had already known. So I think.
But do you think it's also hurt him? Like, do you think one of the reasons so many other people have got bail but not him is that he's almost this, you know, the government will get most hurt by Umar Khalid getting bail? Will get most insulted by Umar Khalid getting bail?
I mean, see, that is not how law is supposed to work, right? Law is supposed to, I mean, you are supposed to give bail
That word
or to
supposed to is doing a lot of heavy lifting in your sentence, Manoj.
I know
How
that's
does
how
it
it
actually
is.
work though? You've seen it up close, right? For 4.5 years.
Yeah, I have. Trust me, I do. But the law
Does it
was.
make you lose faith sometimes?
I mean, the judiciary has also passed good orders in between. You know, questioning UAPA, questioning this delay. Today itself, the Supreme Court passed a good order on somebody who has been incarcerated for 5 years under UAPA and the case has not moved. And these questions of life and liberty, because of our case also, this has been talked about a lot. You know, Bhima Koregaon and the Delhi riots are the two cases which actually spoke a lot about UAPA and the pitfalls of UAPA and, you know, how it is harming the
Umar's
right to
bail is up
liberty.
right now, right?
Yeah,
Bail
along
case
with
is going
others.
on. Other than
Along with some others.
when do you expect a result? Which either way?
I mean, this time the arguments are taking place pretty fast. I mean, it's in the rhythm that should happen. So, yeah, I mean, next week itself, the next hearing is scheduled. It's not being delayed this time. So,
It's not been delayed this
no.
time. So you're saying the case is going pretty quickly now.
I mean, relatively faster now.
I mean, I want to just get back where I started. What is Banu Josna feeling like? Is it, are you exhausted? Are you tired? Are you like, do you like, do you want this, like, is it a nightmare that you want to end, or you think we're fighting some glorious fight?
Oh, it is a nightmare that I want to end, definitely. Whether it's a glorious fight or not, I think that time will tell, like how history sees us later and how people see us later. But yeah, I mean, there's no regret. I was.
Regret. At any point of time, you or Umar, you think you've all made the right choices.
Yes, I mean, if the All India NRC and the CA diabolical agenda comes again, and we'll protest again.
You'll protest again.
Of course, we will. No questions asked. Or any other way, sinister way in which the Constitution is being attacked, the spirit of the Constitution is being attacked, we'll protest again.
Thank you so much, Banu Josna.